Hey, my name is Tia, and I'm going to share my experience or when I realized I had depression and anxiety. First time I figured it out, well, I didn't. My sisters actually told me. And when she brought it to my attention, I was really unaware. I didn't know what it was I was going on. I just knew I was sad all the time. Just wanted to lay in the bed. I always would cry just out of nowhere. Never understood why I'm crying or what was my reason for crying. None of it. I never understood it. And my sister explained to me that this is what I was suffering from. And when I found out, I just asked them questions to kind of like get a better understanding of it. And I spoke to like certain people in my family, more so my aunt that I'm kind of close with, or I'm closer with than most. But however, I spoke to her about it, and she explained to me some of the things that she was going through, and I was like, well, kind of makes sense. So I think it's kind of like I feel like most families, it's an issue with the entire family, and it just trickles down from generation to generation to generation. And thankfully, my generation, unfortunately, at the same time, I'm also thankful that someone in our family went through it and was able to explain to some of the other people that this is what you're going through, and this is the stuff that you can take to get rid of it, or to help, I should say.
Yeah, because there's no getting rid of it.
And confession, besides talking, I haven't took the steps as far as therapy goes. A part of where it affected me as far as the illness, I lost my aunt in 2010, and with that, it kind of like, I think I would say, I would use Taisha's or Ty's reference, which is going down a rabbit hole. I feel at that point, I went down. And reason being is the situation behind my aunt passing, it wasn't just like a natural death or things like that. It was actually a murder. And the person who did it was a family member. So with me, it's like, how do you deal with that? So that kind of affected me. And with me, I don't encourage it, but a lot of people tend to lean on drugs or alcohol for it. And in that situation with me, that's what I leaned on. Marijuana and drinking. And I just basically just was in a whole nother zone, a whole nother world. And I stopped being a mother at a point at the end of time too, because I was just so self-absorbed in myself that I kind of was like oblivious to my kids. Like, I knew they were there. I did the main part of making sure they ate or they had clothes, but like actually like just interacting with them, doing things with them, I had shut down completely. I was just basically like in a shell. Like, I was there, but I wasn't there. And it took me talking to my sisters, or ironically, a counselor. I was going through a program, and the person that was there, he was talking to it was maybe about 15, 20 of us in one class. And he was talking to everybody, and in the midst of everything, he was like, when this over, I want to talk to you. Never met this man a day in my life. He pulled me into his office and was like, I can see you going through something, I don't know what it is. It was put on my spirit to tell you that whatever it is, it's not your fault. Because I actually felt guilt because of the situation with my aunt, and it was actually my father who did it. So I felt guilt from what he did. It's like I carried the weight of his actions.
It was my daddy.
Yeah.
Right. Who took this person who everybody loved. Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, so
I dig how you would have felt guilty even though you wasn't.
I carried that, and I also excluded myself from my dad's side of the family.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that I did it because, I don't know, I felt like everybody looked at me differently or acted funny towards me because of the situation. And it was like, I don't know him like y'all don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knew to my life like he knew to y'all. Granted, that's my father, but we went through this together. So why push me out? And I stopped coming around my family altogether. Stopped dealing with my grandmother. Then I found out, I want to say January 2021, she had stage 4 lung cancer. She passed away April. Wasn't able to talk to her, wasn't able to, mend anything. Like I couldn't even explain to her why I just stepped out of her life.
Right.
So yeah, that was part of the situation.
Can I ask a question? Okay, so that's right. That's like recent. So do you feel like you healed from the anxiety or your depression from it, or are you still dealing with it?
I still deal with the whole situation. Not so much as my aunt now, because I have accepted the fact that I'll never understand. Because at first I used to want to understand why my dad did what he did,
Right.
you know, but it took so many people to constantly keep telling me like, you'll never understand that because your mind doesn't
Yeah.
work like this. So whatever explanation he give you won't make sense to you because it's not a logical explanation to you.
It makes
So
sense to him.
I dealt with that for a while, but after so long, I kind of like let that go of wanting to know why he did it, and I still carried this guilt for a while. It took, unfortunately, for my grandma to pass and me to be around my family to know that nobody felt no type of way towards me. It was just my
It
own.
was you. It was your anxiety.
Yeah, making me feel like, oh, they look at me,
Yeah.
oh, I see him. Because that's all I heard as growing up. Well, you look just like your daddy.
Like your daddy's the one who took away our
Yeah.
auntie. Yeah, I could dig it, but yeah, it wasn't real.
It was like, you know what I'm saying?
It
Yeah.
wasn't even happening.
So that right there caused it. No, I'm not completely over it. I'm working on it more so now. It's more of the guilt of not being able to talk to my granny. I won't say beat myself up about it, but I kind of go back and forth with like what I should have did. But you know, I can't really change that now, so I don't try to dwell on it, but it does bother me. I ain't gonna lie. It bothers me a lot sometimes.
That's because it still exists. So you probably should I'm dealing with it in some type of way. Whatever that may be. You ain't dealt with it. You still feel pain from it.
So you still feel pain you haven't dealt?
You haven't dealt with it to the extent of, and I'm not saying like I'm always going to feel some type of way about things that happen to me. I just don't have to cry after it's just thought. It's my past.
Okay, I haven't got there yet.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where it doesn't affect you emotionally.
It doesn't affect me emotionally anymore.
Oh,
You get
yeah.
what I'm saying? I think for me, I accepted that some things were wrong to have been done. And I'm not going to no longer hold this person accountable, because while you're holding them accountable, you're holding yourself accountable. You're in that space.
Yeah.
And I just want to be free. That doesn't mean I got to deal with you no more though. And that's that. You know, that's that whole knowing your trigger. And if a person is your trigger, you stay away. So once you get to the point where you don't feel guilty, that's when you get it. That's my advice. I'm not a therapist.
Baby
It's my
steps. I'm
experience.
getting there. I don't feel as bad as I did, but I still, you know,
I
wish I could have had
understand
that
why you say that way.
That's just one of the things that I can say that triggered my depression and illness. These things I can go back to further as being a child. Knowing now that this is what I was going through, I can think of things that triggered it as a kid. And my thing is, I think what brings my depression and anxiety on is that I'm always trying to be the protector of my loved ones. So it's things that I experienced growing up or just as an adult that I went through strictly just protecting my loved ones that caused the depression and anxiety. Eventually I'll get to that point to where I want to talk about that. Yeah, and I haven't got to that point to where I'm ready to talk about that and express that part yet.
Right, so then you just like cut,
Yeah.
you know, because nobody should have to. Sometimes it's painful.
Yeah,
And I ain't trying to
There's no reason to force it out.
force it out of you. It's gonna come on this time. So I agree
It'll
with
be
you.
a next session.
Oh yeah.
That's if you want to talk next session, though, you know,
You will.
depending on where you are.
But just know that not talking, you're harming yourself.
I was just about to say
That's
that.
just what it is. And I'm just keeping it real.
I wish.
If you are not discussing it, if you are not talking to someone about it or trying to get help, you're harming yourself.
This is
which is
when I
like
make
Professional help, like, what if you just talk to your friends, though?
do it work.
Sometimes.
Well, sometimes, yeah.
Well, if it works, then you do it.
Sometimes, one time, I'm going to say this, and I'm only going to say this because I wish our bystander was still been still sitting here. Sometimes talking to people that's close to you is not good.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I can talk to my best friend all day long, but it be still something inside of me that don't let everything out. I can talk to all y'all all day long.
Is that from judgment or you just like, I can't talk?
It be something
It's
inside.
like
It's like a self barrier.
It's like
a self protection.
It feels like a just big old thing.
Like it be like
Ain't
I
no
can't
shit,
let you
just
know
it's
that.
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like why
Can't
let
come
you
out.
know that when I feel like, and it might not even because I don't feel like nobody in my circle judge me because at the end of the day we all go through the same things but in different tokens. Like I might be going through something in a relationship wise, but she might be going through it in a business sense. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm going through might relate to each and every one of you
In some
guys,
type of way.
but in some type of different way. You know what I'm saying? So I might not let it out to all of y'all because I feel a certain type of way because on my inside, not because of how it feel with you guys, but how it makes me feel. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
the
let
same
it
thing she said though about her going to see her daddy's side of the family.
Yeah, like
And the
it's how it
inside,
makes
she felt guilty.
Yeah.
And so she felt like everybody felt like she was guilty.
Yeah,
and
like
that wasn't the case.
And it's on my inside. It don't have nothing to do with you, my best friend, shit. Shoot. My mother. It has something to do with me. It's how I feel on my inside. Like what makes me comfortable and what makes me grounded. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a totally different sense of just a normal comfortability. Like
But see,
it's
that's a
just
barrier
totally
that I'm gonna have
different.
to get past because I'm not comfortable with
Well,
anything really.
Bingo.
That's something that you have to work like.
Yeah, I don't talk to my mom or nothing. Like,
Why?
well, that's my mama. Me and my mom's is cool, but it's like another level.
Yeah, but that's part of the issue.
And that's something, and I was just about to say,
So I mean, now that you said that,
that's what we
deliver
see
your,
into the
your story of whatever
introduce her,
when you
please.
first realized that.
Introduce
What
Miss
you did.
Sin.
Right, well, I don't
Introduce
suffer from- I
Sin
don't
to the
think-
camera, please.
Yeah, I said.
Introduce it.
I don't think I suffer from depression or anything like that. I do have an
This is-
anxiety issue for sure, but I'm socially handicapped. I'm accepting of it though. That'd be my thing.
What do you mean by social handicap?
Like y'all know who I am. Like I'm the first one to dip on y'all. I'm the first one really not to be.
Unless you're like super.
You know what I'm saying? Unless I get that, that courage in me, that
Right.
liquid courage or whatever. But I'm the first one to get on. Like for real, I'd be like, I'm coming through, but then again, no, I'm not because it's such a struggle just to get outside of my house.
What do you feel like? People staring at you? Do you feel like what? You being judged?
No, I
I
wouldn't
was
get
just about to say,
outside.
why is the reason why you
Yeah.
don't
I have
come
no
outside of
idea.
your
I
shit?
go to the club and then I just have a thought like I could be at home, and it's just more of a comfortable feeling. I'm not comfortable outside in the
Yeah,
Okay,
so
I
it's
have-
probably because
I have one question, and only because of what's going on now in the world. Is it because of COVID that you act
No,
like this?
I've been
Or is it
training for
because?
COVID my whole life.
No, I'm just saying.
I've been training.
No, I'm just.
I've been in the house on quarantine my whole
I can dig it
No,
though.
what
It
I'm
was
saying
real.
is, no, that's why I'm asking because it's like, not even being funny, it's like now that I had to resort to a sort of, because I feel like deep down inside, I am an introvert. Introverts, I'm cool with just being by myself, but at the end of the day, on some real ass mess stuff, only, I feel bad saying this, you know what I'm saying that I had a partner and, I was looking to be engaged, but at the end of the day, the only people I need on some real ass stuff besides my family, you know what I'm saying, like my people that I share bloodlines with, it's my friends. I don't need nobody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool for me to be okay, and I know it's kids watching, but it's cool for me to be okay and just have my friends and that person. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to have a significant other, and I've learned that within the last year and a half.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it took me a while because I was the one that out of the whole clique,
You always need a boo or something like that.
I definitely had to have a book.
All the time.
That was-
Okay.
I had to have a
If it
boo.
wasn't a boo, it was a couple of them.
Somebody.
You know what I'm saying?
Somebody
But-
or something.
You know what I'm saying?
Somebody
What
or
I'm
something.
saying is this.
I'm just saying. Now, I know. I've been her friend since
Something.
I was
She always had a
16.
boo.
Since I was 16, before I even got grown. But what I'm saying is,
But I knew that was trauma though.
you know what I'm saying? It feels good to be able to be like, I'm cool with it. And it took me to say a prayer. Like it took me to say a prayer, and I said, I pray for my friends. I said I pray for my family and my daughter and my family, and then I pray for my friends. But when I was praying out loud, and at that time, I had a fiance, and they was like, how you pray for your friends before you pray for your fiance?
Because that's your priority.
It is what it is.
And it ain't even
It's
that's
not
my
that.
priority.
It's what somebody.
At the end of the day, my friends is going to be there
no
for
matter
me.
what, no question.
No matter
No,
what.
I ain't gonna say no questions, but
No matter
be there.
what, my friends is going to be there for me. And at the end of the day, my friends is what supply my happiness. I can go to my friends for happiness.
Okay, well, I will say this though. I dig all that. But it's not entirely true because I know, because I am your friend, that some days you wake up bad.
Yeah.
So it's not.
But I'm saying at the
But what is that? So what I want you to know is why though. Because if your friends are supplying your happiness, no.
because I need a mixture of it. And I already know the truth. I long for like a relationship and to love somebody. But at the end of the day, if I don't have that and I have a goal in my head and my friends, I'm good. Like right now, I got my shopping. I got my shop goal and I got my friends.
So you know,
I'm good.
it's a such thing as one of the symptoms is the high and the low, like I told y'all earlier.
Yeah, that's why I said I
So
know
right now
I feel
you're on
my
the high?
high. Yeah.
Okay, so that's why you're saying that.
Yeah.
Because when you're on the low, that's when whatever the actual issues is gonna come out. You get what I'm saying? Like when we had the meeting before.
My lows is me being
In a relationship.
me being not independent.
In a
That's my
relationship.
low. In a
Friend
relationship,
telling
yeah.
y'all is in a relationship.
My yeah.
But
It ain't
back
my
to
turn,
sin.
though.
Back to sin, right? You already told your story.
I ain't even told my story.
Hold on, but okay, so back to sin. So for you, I'm just trying to just summarize. So what you're saying is you have anxiety. You don't have depression.
No.
But it's anxiety for sure.
But it's anxiety. It comes from noises, it comes from too much people, it comes from just too much chatter around me. I got a quiet house. I just keep a dog. I don't keep people in my house. I don't do big. I'm not big on company. Y'all see, I'm not big on going out. And I'm an only child, so I don't really have that outlet. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't look to people to vent to.
Right.
I deal with it myself. Like it
But
don't
you-
matter what it is. I deal with it myself. I won't talk to none of y'all about nothing. Y'all never know what's going on in my life.
Except for John.
But
John, John's at my house.
John have a little bit of an outlet, so that's why I only said except for the background,
Yeah.
because I know that John have a little bit of a more of an insight than us.
Yeah, just a little bit, but not a whole lot, because I don't tell John a lot.
Yeah, but so
It's
do
still
you-
more of us.
Do
know
you
what I'm saying?
feel like
More
you?
of
But
us.
like you said, but my thing is this: if you're not telling anybody anything, correct? So that means that where is it going?
Yeah,
It's not going nowhere, which is
I'll
why
talk
at
it
your
out
age
with
you
me.
still got it.
you can't talk it out with
It don't work.
It's
Yourself is what's telling you the wrong thing.
Right. Yourself is
So
telling you a circle.
talking to someone else
It's
to give you
telling you
another
to go
outlet.
in out. It's telling you how to get out of it, but you're going right back
I'm have to go
into
get
it.
a therapist or something like that, because I just try to, you know what I'm saying? When you have a problem, you try to dilute it, water it down, fix it as much as you can, and you just dissolve
Yeah,
it.
and that's what I mean, and that's why I'm at the point I'm at in my life right now. If I had to address my issues even in my 20s when I had them and didn't know, I probably would be not stuck in the position I am right now. Very happy with my life, work. You know, I got everything I
You
want.
talk to people.
No, if I had been letting it out.
That's what I'm saying. If
I
you
kept
talk
it in
to
for
people.
almost 20 years before I.
No, that's what I'm saying. If
you
you
know,
have been talking to people.
if I hadn't
all the
been
time.
expressing it, you get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
mine got deeper and deeper and deeper. So again, now that I'm healed from all the things that I know was the reason it was created, I still struggle with depression. It's a lifelong thing for me from now.
So-
because it's been sitting for so long and it's penetrated.
So, question. I'm sorry.
So what I was saying is, but I had to figure out what the issue was at first. So, you know, that even comes with anxiety. That's what I'm saying to you. So you're not talking about it. People are not telling you where you are wrong and you're tripping.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? You gon' of course
'Cause
tell
I'm
yourself,
moody. Yeah.
you gonna tell yourself this is normal, this is regular. You need to talk
Because I
about
shut down, I get moody, and I'll be like, I'll disappear for a whole week, won't answer my phone. stuff
Journal
like that,
and
but it's just like I
push
was,
off to your friend, like read this.
That's what I was about to
detoxing.
ask you. Like, how do you deal since you don't deal with nobody? And I can understand it completely because I don't deal. Like, after a certain amount of time and a certain amount of incidents, I deal with stuff myself, and I understand that. But at the same token that I deal with it myself,
It's not working.
I know that myself is myself. I need somebody else to come in here with me. Like, even if it's TT.
Just to tell,
Sometimes
just to
I don't talk to
tell me your opinion on what I'm
I
saying.
love my best friends to death. I have 3. Sharnika, Taisha, and John. And I talk to them all about everything. But sometimes I have to be like, you know what? I don't want to talk about
Yeah, sometimes you can work it out by yourself, but that's
I might talk to
phase.
TT. Because TT might understand more of where I'm coming from. And not even saying that TT's opinion is good, because me and TT might be going through the same thing at the same time, but I said TT's opinion is good, but it feels good to let it out. You know what I'm saying? It feels good to just let it out of myself, and I apologize, you know, to whoever I have put it on, but I apologize, but sometimes it feels good
Apology
to
accepted.
I apologize, but you know, it feels good to let it out of yourself. And I'm gonna say it again, I apologize, but to reflect it on somebody else, like,
Oh no, you ain't never reflecting.
no, I'm saying like, no, I'm saying like, to, like,
I get it. Just put it
my
out there.
God, feel my pain.
She said, my God.
My God, like, DM, can you, come to my
Come
world?
cry with me.
Okay.
Like,
She's definitely into a lot of her worlds, unfortunately.
like, DM, I thought I was good this week, but
She'll never catch me up again. I'm not going, and you ain't
I'm
going
not
either.
going.
I'm gonna take you down. That's what's happening.
That's why I talk to TT outside.
Yeah, you gonna have to talk to TT. That's what.
That's why I'm like,
I learned my
hey,
lesson. You're
my
staying right here with me. Take me
my
down.
God, come level with me.
Maybe you should
I
start.
don't think I'm right.
I think that you definitely should start talking to somebody. And I think that you should.
When I say
And if
definitely,
you don't get nothing from it, then go back to doing it how your way. But
What I'm
Give it a chance to.
Hold on, but what I'm
go one
saying
day
is
and
this.
just feel like it's just
what I'm gonna
work.
say is this: if you look at us, and when I say us, I'm talking about this background person too, as somebody that's too close for you to share something with. Find you somebody that's not close to you as we
But
are.
see, it's the opposite for me. It's like, we cool, but I don't know. I'm funny.
What I'm saying
telling you what it is. I'm not.
you gotta get out of that.
I don't
You
think
gotta get out of
Because
that.
I'll
It's
be
your
like,
brain.
Because it's somebody out of here that's not biased, that don't know sin, that don't know
And
sin
give me
at
a straight
all.
opinion off of
Because
just your story.
you might tell me a story, and just because I love you so much, in my mind, in my subconscious, when it come out my mouth, I might be biased.
It's not gonna be for me. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
But I'ma still be saying I tell you the truth, but just I'd rather for you to go somebody that don't know you at all. You know what I'm saying? And you tell your person, because when you talk to that person, you can bleed out. You know what I'm saying? It's going to pour. I was telling somebody I was pouring out just talking regular, like just a normal conversation.
Yeah, so I think you should definitely, work your way up to it, but don't give yourself extreme anxiety about trying sometimes that'll happen. and
Like that's what's gonna make you shut down.
It'll make you
don't
shut down
do too much
faster,
of it.
but talking to someone definitely helps. Like I said, it does. It helps a lot. Even if, again, if you just journal.
I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna do that.
Journal your feelings, because as you write, it's gonna start pouring out, and then you're gonna realize what your problem was. You probably get over it by yourself. But the fact that I wanted to say this before we switch from seeing to seer, but I would say this, like, that feeling that you can't describe, that's a normal way of feeling some way, FYI. You don't know why you feel that way. It's
Don't
real.
know, and it's
You don't know
just
why
real.
you don't want to go outside. So, but it could be because you are scared you're being judged, but you haven't gotten there yet. You haven't even gotten there to identify the reason why you can't do these things. And that's how you learn your triggers. I know my triggers. So I know I can't do this because of this. Whether it was something that happened to me in the past, or whether, you know what I'm saying? That triggers, and I'm sorry I can't get over it. Like I can't
Okay,
get over
I
lying.
can, and I'll be alright.
It's something that's a
I
trigger.
stand for it.
So, but yeah, I know you said your story was short, but I appreciate you, because I
Yeah,
know you was,
for
like you
sure,
said,
'cause
you're
you know,
closed
like,
off.
Wait, before we even close you off, was that the end of your story?
Well, I always got stories, but I'm
What,
just, I'm
what go?
emotionally
Do you
handicapped.
feel like
Yeah,
you need to tell us?
No, I'm good. Like, that's it. Let's move on.
Right? That's what I said.
It's one to the new table.
We're sitting here with Sam from Swapping Stories. Sam, we're gonna ask a few questions and just, give us a breakdown from a more private perspective. Now that we got you a little secluded from the group.
It's a private perspective.
Yeah.
Good luck with that one, bro.
Let's give it to the people though. First question: when did you first realize that you were suffering from depression and or anxiety?
Teenage years for me. It's about, I want to say like 14, 15, really. Is when I really realized I had an anxiety problem. Not necessarily depression, but anxiety for real, where you have panic attacks or you feel like the walls is going to close in. You got to take a minute to gather yourself. Yeah, about 9th, 10th grade.
Wow. What did you do when you found out you had this illness?
Panic ensued, for real. You just have to take a moment. I know my mom suffers from it, So I would watch her kind of like take her moments to kind of gather herself. And you got to get quiet, kind of get in your own space and get out your own way, so to speak, to calm your mind down. But I was freaking. Like, because you think it's just you. And you think you're the only one with the issue. But having to watch her, I learned how to be calm. Learn how to calm down, gather your mind. Find a happy place, as people like to say.
That happy place. I can dig that. Tell a story about how this illness affected your life.
It affects me still. I'm like standoffish, antisocial type. That's a lot to do with my anxiety, the way I deal with people, the way I communicate with people, because I'm the first one to get gone, usually, because I'm having some type of something when it pertains to me. But I don't know. You just got to deal with it. You know, I had to learn how to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
And once you can get into that space, you should be on your road to progression, is what I'm saying. Not recovery, but at least progression.
Okay. With this illness, tell a story about how it caused you to affect others close to you.
It affects me mostly when I hang out with my people that I've known them for decades, and it just, if I stay too long, you only really got a 2-hour cap on me. Like, for real. You got 2 hours, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go. Because it's just, I gotta gather. I be having to reset. I've noticed that I like to reset at my house. My house is like glue. Like, I leave my house, and I got 2.5 hours before I get this, like, antsy feeling. And then I gotta go back home to reset. And then once I do that, I can step in there for 15 minutes, and then I'll be like, all right, bet I can go. But I don't know I think it's just crazy. I don't know. But I'm usually the first to get on. So I've been trying to quiet that voice or that chatter that's in the back of your head that's causing the problem. And just live in the moment and not necessarily wait for the next moment. But just be in it.
So it takes you away from your people.
Yeah, it does. It takes me away from a lot. Even family members, it's like, all right, goodbye. And it's no disrespect. It's just I'm dealing with my own little situations usually.
So I'm going to interject an extra question in here. When it comes to relationships, have you ever gone as far as living with someone, and how does it affect that? Oh,
that's usually that part. I don't have a problem with that part because I just got out of 6 years, and that was like 5 of us living together. You see what I'm saying? Like, same roof every day. That person is your everyday. When it pertains to a significant other or spouse, I don't really have that particular anxiety. It's odd. But when it pertains to like my friends or my family, I got that type of feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the weirdest thing, but it's something that I do need to work on. Because I don't have a problem, like what they call sharing is caring. I don't have a problem with that, but
as long as you're in your space.
Right, as long as it's in my space or on my own terms. But that's not the same thing, is it?
Yeah.
So it's just some things that I got to work on. It's the only child syndrome.
Okay, well, with that being said, that leads us to the last question. Have you begun the process to get better?
Yep.
And what do you consider better?
I changed the negative output in my life. Like, I got a different job, and I even work on a different schedule, and that helps. Because, like, when I'm at work, people are sleeping, and that's good, you know. Because when I have my best ideas, everything is quiet, the frequencies is free, I can hear, you know what I'm saying, throughout the day. It's chatter, it's too many people on the road, so I just changed some things about me, just got the better gig, changed my lifestyle, and I actually feel better. I haven't had a panic attack in a minute, so.
How often did you normally before then have a panic attack?
Probably like once a week, maybe twice a week, where you gotta like, especially getting older, you have that time is ticking, that tick that's always going, that would drive me crazy. But it is what it is, one day at a time. And like the old folks say, it always get better. So keep pushing for that. That's what I got at the end of the day. Yeah.
Well, saying I thank you for coming out and sharing.
Appreciate it. Hopefully it'll help the next individual, you know.
And that's what we asked for.
Man.
So, and that's a big step. So, to kind of, before we actually conclude it, so PS to the PS, right, I guess, did this kind of play onto that anxiety, being in front of a camera?
Yeah, you got this big ring light. I'm saying, like, let's keep it 1,000.
But it's nobody else.
I don't care. It's people on the other side of that lens, you know what I'm saying? And you don't have to necessarily see these people or know these people, but you know that this is going to resonate beyond you. You know what I'm saying? So it's always, you always have that anxiety of judgmental people or stuff like that, but hey, either you click or you don't. It is what it is. Either you can get with it or you can't.
At the end of the day, I appreciate you for taking such a big step, and anybody who suffers with it knows that this is big, it's huge. So for myself and behalf of others that are gonna see this, thank you for
Two, I just want to take the time to thank you, Sam, because out of everybody that we actually started with a bigger group, but we ended up with just us four, and it worked. I didn't care. Everybody got comfortable telling their story. I do care. I don't care enough to be mad at them. I understand. Everybody's not comfortable, and that's okay. Everybody's not there. But so I want to thank you, because I know out of all of us, it was most difficult for her. So she came out. So if she can do it, I think a lot of people can do it. So on that note, we're gonna go over to CC. We're gonna go over to CC and let her go ahead and start her journey.
Hello everyone, my name is Cece. My name is Cece the Lock Lady, but I go by Cece. Well, I first realized that I had an issue back when I was like 12. And I only say I think I had an issue because my cousin was murdered, and it was like he was the only person that I could speak to about how I felt. You know what I'm saying? Like about how I felt about different things. So like when he was murdered, it took a lot of me away, and I was 12. So I say about, he died August the 10th. I say about August the 25th, I tried to kill myself. I took a box of Theraflu because that was the only thing I knew I could tell my mom to get that wouldn't make her
Notice or realize something.
think about what I was doing.
Yeah. Right, to know that that's what you were trying to do. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, you know what I'm saying? At that time, I faked the cold, you know what I'm saying? And she bought me a box of Theraflu. I say I slept for like 2 days, like up and down. And that was when I noticed that the only person that I could talk to about how I felt was her. And I've never dealt with my cousin Marvin death.
No, you haven't. It's very apparent.
And I've lost a few people. Because I've lost a lot of people since then. But I've lost a few people that I've consoled in that's not here no more. And I'm thankful for all my friends. Like, when I say totally thankful, I'm thankful. You know what I'm saying? And they saved me last for a reason. I haven't dealt with my anxiety and or depression because I deal with both. I haven't dealt with neither one. And I'm not okay with it, but I'm okay with it because at the end of the day, I have my friends. And I appreciate y'all because I smile so bright.
We're around each other. I get it.
My smile is like
Your laugh is so loud. Like, CC laugh, it's like minutely embarrassing.
Yes, definitely.
When she go laughing,
You
the
just
whole
want her to be
room
quiet,
stops,
but
and
she
you
won't,
like,
but you laugh
"Sissy."
with her because it's that crazy.
Like, it's so
I'm just-
loud, so it's so
I have
infectious,
so many
she
people
laugh.
telling me that I'm a ball of energy when they just don't know what I deal with on the daily. I'm so sad. And it's like, how can you be sad? I could take it all the way back to my childhood. How can you be so sad when you have everything a kid can want? I'm talking about, when I say everything a kid can want, I had every pair of shoes. I had jewelry. I had everything. It's nothing that I could want as a kid, but I just wanted love. I didn't have that. So when I had my kid, when I got pregnant at 18, and I had my kid at 19, my goal was to show her the love that I didn't have. You know what I'm saying? And I had it. And excuse me, kids, but I had hella love. But that love that I was looking for, okay, they say hella, okay. I had hella love. But I didn't have that love that I fought for. And I just wanted so bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always felt like I was the black sheep. Like I was always different from my sister and my brother. I felt like I was always different from everybody because I felt something different inside of me. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, it may be because I was gay at 12 and I didn't face it until I was 18. But I faced it. And at the time that I faced it alone. But I also faced it with my friend, my best friend.
Purpose along for a while.
You know what I'm saying? It's hard to not feel comfortable with telling my best friend, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm out here messing around with these dudes, but when I'm messing around with these dudes, I'm picturing something different in my head to even have a reaction with these dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kids out here that's fighting with things in your mind that makes you feel like, well, am I not normal? Yeah, you normal, but the normal life that you lead is not yours. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a titter-totter because the way I wrote my story is not the way I want to tell it. I was about, like I said, 12 or 13 when I learned that I had I'm not going to say a form of depression, but learned I had an issue. Because like my best friend said, I didn't want to be here. Like who 12 and 13 that don't want to go outside and chill with the kids and chill with your friends and have a whole ball because at the end of the day, your mama at work. You ain't got no curfew. We out here. You know what I'm saying? We doing us. But it was like, you know what? I'm 12 and somebody told me I was black. And my mama used to keep dookie braids in my hair. So it was like I was ugly. So it was like, nobody noticing me. I'm gonna sit in the house until the sun go down because I don't want to be dark like the rest of these kids. It was like I didn't love me for myself. Who don't want to love themselves for themselves?
A person that, what you just said, and if you haven't realized it, but the reason why you felt that way is because somebody told you that. And they made you insecure about it. And whoever told you that, you need to accept that they made you insecure about your skin color.
It was me.
But who said that to you?
It was nobody.
You
That's
said
the thing.
when you go outside, kids would say,
No, nobody was.
black. It was just you
It
in
was
your
me.
head. Oh, yeah,
At the end of the day, my mama told me every day.
What made you think that you didn't look good as everybody around you?
I don't know. Maybe because in a society world that light-skinned people.
So you're watching
is
TV
pretty.
and you were seeing stuff
You
that
know what
was
I'm saying?
yeah.
But at the end of the day, my mama told me I was
Something made. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Something started.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, my mama told me I was pretty all the time. I know I was pretty. People told me I was pretty all the time, but it was like, I wasn't getting that reaction. So I'm gonna be the real one.
You don't get that.
Okay, so listen, this is what you did. So you were watching, you said that you got a lot of these ideas about yourself from what you seen on TV, what you seen people drift to, right? And that when you would come outside, you wasn't getting that same attention, correct?
That same.
So you convinced yourself that you felt that way, and it just went from there.
And at the end of the day, I've always been chunky, camera.
Yeah, but
I've always been chunky.
pretty though. You're not just chunky.
At the end of the day, when I was like, I'm gonna say, I don't even know that I know I was in love with women at 12 or 13. But every week, I used to hang the Jet Beauty on my wall. Every week. And my mama used to go buy it for me because she thought that's how I wanted to look. I never, to this day, I'm 35, I've never wanted to be skinny. I never wanted to be the women that I saw. I loved the women that I saw because they was beautiful to me. So maybe I was into women then and didn't know, or didn't know how to express it, because I didn't have nobody gay in my life. I didn't have nobody, oh, this is a stud, this is a femme. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have that in my life. It was, in my life, you was with a man, you was with a woman, and that's your life. I didn't have no gay stuff, and if it was gay, it was a man and a man. I didn't know nothing
About women and women.
a women. You know what I'm saying? So it was what I was thinking, it was like, sorry for everybody that went to middle school and high school. Middle school, really. But it was like, damn, why I keep looking at her breast?
So was that a
So it's like,
that was a trigger for your depression?
Yeah,
You trying to
'cause it was like-
fight your inside.
yeah, it was like, so, and this is gonna take me into the next one that people, young teens is dealing with.
Yeah, a lot of them call themselves
Young teens is
suicide.
suicide. No, that's not even where I'm about to go with it.
No, I'm just saying what you're saying about the battle. The battle that you're saying you were having with yourself, but not, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the inside is the reason why a lot
I'm
of
not even about to talk about
Yes, do
suicide
that.
with it. What I'm about to talk about is how you treat yourself. I started having sex. And it was like, okay, the first time I had sex, I was like 14. I was like, ugh, this what my friends talk about? Let me blow that blunt. Because I've been smoking weed since I was 14. I'm 35.
And that's the way she coped with her.
And that's the way I deal. I've been dealing with it for so long. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been dealing with it before it was a Taisha, before it was and I love my best friend when I was 14 to death. But my best friend when I was 14 was under me. Like, she didn't have the mental capability to understand what I was going through. So it was like, okay, girl, you can have this baby. Girl, I'm 15. I'm still out here trying to figure out what's going on with me, my nigga. Like, okay, I can help you take care of this baby because I got a little bit of money, but I don't understand what's going on with you, girl. I'm trying to figure out why I like girl titties.
Right.
Like, girl, I don't understand what's going on with you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, we good. But it's like, at the same token, you don't know who yourself is. And then you think back like, well, what made me get to where I'm at? And it was like, you see things in your life. And I'm 35 now. And I've been through some relationships that's been trying. I haven't been with a man since 2005. Let me put that out there. But I also let that man, the last man that I was with, cheat on me. When I went into the delivery room,
It is the labor. That's what's happening.
I know. Right. When I went into that room, I had to call another woman to tell my daughter's father that I was in labor with her kid. And guess what? At that time, that I was cool with that. Because you know why? I didn't want a man. That's cool. But I also let things that I've seen, let things hinder me. Like, okay, well, I've let so-and-so do so-and-so to somebody. So since that's the first thing that I see, maybe I should let somebody treat me like that.
When I got it, and so you thought that was what it.
Yeah, but at the same token,
No, not at all.
that's not what my kid's supposed to look up to. No, why should my kid look up to me crying, being hurt when
Cause she gonna be just like you. You took it from somebody else, and then what you want to demonstrate to your child.
all I did was put tears with what I saw somebody else go through. Like that person was strong enough not to drop them. At least not to drop them in front of me. But I'm not that strong. Smile all day, crack all the jokes. I'm talking about I ain't laughing from sun up to sundown. But in between them times, baby, I hurt.
That's that mask stuff that we put on.
Paul Lumbards. Look up the I Wear Mask poem, because that's me. I've been living by that poem since 9th grade, and that is me. I wear the mask. I wear the mask that can mask anything. See, you can tell nothing is wrong with me because I'm gonna wear a smile all day because somebody told me my smile brightens the room. So when somebody told me what I have make everybody else feel good, that made me feel like I can't even show these people my pain because how do they supposed to survive without a smile on their face if I don't give it to them?
Okay, so how long you gonna do that for? Because I mean, like you said, you're 35, and the way that you're crying right now, the way that the emotion is coming from this, you ain't dealt with. I can go back to you saying about your cousin. You ain't dealt with that. You haven't dealt with the fact that of what you thought you looked like, and whether you sitting to yourself right now and tell yourself in the mirror you think you fine, you don't believe that. You still think like you thought, because if you didn't, it wouldn't hurt you so much. You get what I'm saying? And I know everybody is different, but it's just what I'm feeling from the situation.
I think
so. You really got a lot to deal with, baby girl.
I think it hurt me because it was like, how can I not see the beauty that y'all see?
You don't see it, but it's because you're mental.
No, I see it now. It just took me so long for me to feel as beautiful as everybody else told me I was.
But do you really feel that way? Or is that what you're
I feel like I'm the beautifulest bitch in the world.
Okay, I hear you. I hear that.
Oh, I definitely feel it. That I feel. That tip, I only got 9 toes, baby. I can sit on that, stand on that. That beauty, that beauty and my confidence, I can stand on that 10 toes strong. That's nothing. I feel like I'm the coldest piece walking next to a 150-pound person.
So why do you still feel?
I feel that's
attached to it emotionally of how you used to feel about yourself.
Because I can't believe I felt like that. I can't believe I never saw what y'all saw.
Right.
I can't believe I didn't see what the people that wanted me saw.
I can dig that.
You know what I'm saying? It'd be like,
yeah, I was fine. I knew that.
Okay. That's how it be. It'd be like, girl, wait. You think I'm that sexy? You know what? Hold on. Let me check this out.
But that's why you grow right now at 35. I love myself to death.
To death.
Big, small,
You know
I love
what I'm
myself
saying?
because now I'm content because now in my brain I ain't got myself together, so I know.
Yeah. And I don't need nobody else to tell me that I'm beautiful.
Right.
It used to take for different people to tell me
You had to hear
that I was beautiful. I don't get me wrong. I love you. I love y'all to death. But I don't need y'all to tell me I'm pretty.
I won't tell you nothing.
No.
She like, don't take it too far.
I need to
Now you
hear
get out
it.
here. Now you're not here.
Tell me
I
I'm
definitely
pretty.
love
Okay, tell me I look cute. Tell me when I don't look cute. I want to hear it all.
Definitely. But what I'm saying is,
Just like I asked Gemini, do I look skinny? She told me something. That's my friend. It was like,
I love you. That's my friend.
what I'm saying,
you look good though. You look good.
I like what you think.
Look, but you look good though.
I like what I
You do look good, but you're not gonna say skinny, but you know.
What I'm saying is,
2 thumbs up.
I don't need
The validation.
the validation. And I can even take
That's
it
a
back
healing.
to a
That is
conversation.
that's a sign that you heal from it though.
Yeah.
Right there.
And I can even take it to a, like, me and my best friend go through back and forth. You know what I'm saying? You her sister.
I go back.
But
and forth
one day
with
she
that.
told me that I had too much confidence.
I never told you had too much confidence. No, I probably let me just clear this up right now so everybody will think I'm a bad friend. What I probably meant, when I say I love your confidence. That's one of the things I love about you. I don't like to go to the club with millions of people. The reason why, and I say this all humbly, I like to look a particular type of way when I go out. I like to look a particular type of way anyways. That's me. I think everybody should care about themselves. I'm not going out with someone who looks like trash or I'm sorry, get it together. However, I would go out with her because she always fly. We performed together one time and I never seen her costume. We were Beyonce and Lil Wayne. She was Lil Wayne. And I never seen what she looked like. I was nervous to see how she was gonna be Wayne. When she came out on the stage, I was so proud of her because she looked just like a feminine Wayne. Her swag. You know what I'm saying? So if I said that, it's because she probably wore something I didn't like that was too short. Just FYI. And because I'm the friend that will call you out on something, that's what she's talking about. If I didn't mean it that way.
Okay,
so I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said it that way. I probably did say that.
But that's not how I needed to take it. Maybe I needed that. Because maybe I was too confident in that moment.
But I didn't mean too confident. That was the wrong words.
Okay. But whatever way it took it, whatever way it was delivered, I didn't take it as like, oh, my best friend think I'm too confident. Oh, you know what I'm saying? I didn't take it like that. It was like, well, what in the world am I doing that I'm too confident? Like, fool, I'm doing the same thing I've been doing since forever. And it's like, but it was like, I blew her off. Because she probably was in one of her moments. We have her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It might be a moment where we having a moment at the same time where we can't even talk.
With Miss Cece in this individual interview, get a couple questions going on and just reply to the questions. Give us what you got. Let us know about you a little bit in this illness, this anxiety and or depression. The first question we're gonna lead off with is, when did you first realize that you were suffering from depression and or anxiety?
I want to say I was about 15 when I noticed something was wrong. And back when I was 15, it was a few years ago. Okay, 20 years ago. So they didn't really have names and stuff for stuff. So I just thought something was different with me. Like, I'd be happy with my friends, but then again, I was like slightly sad. So I say around about 15, I thought things was different with me. But as I would say, I got to be about 29, I knew about depression. So I knew I was falling into like different types of depression and things like that. I never knew I had anxiety until about 32, maybe 33. Yeah, about 32, 33 for my depression. But it's so, as I look back at it now, because I'm so educated, I've had it since I've been about 12.
Wow. What did you do when you found out that you had this illness?
Well, when I figured, different things. Like, it was different levels of it. When I found out that I was that I was going through different things in my head, I would tell different people, like, something ain't right. But back when I was younger, my favorite thing to do was to get high. I used to love to smoke weed. If I didn't feel a certain type of way, I'm just go smoke. And I say after about 17, when I felt a certain type of way, I used sex. So it was like, and I was like fighting with my own sexuality, because it was like, I love looking at girl parts, but I knew girl parts and girl parts weren't supposed to be together in the world that they are telling us. But it's like, but how do I like what I see? Better than what I get. So it was like, damn, a mental thing started playing on me, and it was like a man couldn't satisfy it. So one guy, I used to always picture female parts on him for me to get any type of arousal or, thanks a lot. Got my baby. But I appreciate it. But what I'm saying is, once I found out that I was gay, another part, you know what I'm saying, like, it was a different type of thing lifted off me. So I just deal with it by dealing with, like, what's the issue? So I used to deal with things. Now I actually talk to people. Back then I used to like to write, but then my writing would get me in trouble because people read your writing and take it and blow it up when you like, dang, that was just my feelings, that's how I feel, like, and it was personal, you wasn't even supposed to know. So I say journaling helped me out when I was younger. As I'm older now, talking helps. Even though they say talking don't help, talking helps. Sometimes I'll talk to myself, God, strangers. I like to talk to strangers a lot.
Hence why we're here. No, I'm sorry.
Strangers, I love strangers because they're they can't be biased. They don't even know me. So how can they be biased to my situation? So I love talking to strangers. And I feel like even though I love the fact of seeking counseling. But I haven't found me a counselor yet. But it's not something that I would not do. So those are my different ways.
Tell a story about how this illness affected your life.
One of my biggest anxieties is independence. I always have to feel like, not that I'm in control, but that I can handle it. And so, me dealing with somebody that's not on my level of independence played with my anxiety. And we were in a big place in our life or whatever, and it was like, my anxiety wouldn't let them be a part of it, because it's like, I gotta make sure we good. When I should have just let that person play their role, and we made sure we was good. So it messed up some things, and I feel like my independence was a big play on a part of my life, because I was too independent, as they would say.
Okay. Tell a story about how this illness caused you to affect others close to you.
Well, I know as far as my depression, a lot of people look at me as a bubble of energy, a burst, a ball of energy. So when I'm not that, I feel like for people that's going through something and I can't give them a smile, I feel like that's always a problem for me. So I feel like when I can't deliver my normal self to people, like smiling, happy, fun, I feel like that affects other people. So I feel like me being down, like, might not brighten up somebody's day. So that's why I always, even if it's a mask, I love to wear my smile. Because my smile to me is God's gift to the world, because it's just so bright. Like, I legit love my smile. So if you don't see me smiling, it might be something really, really wrong with me. Because I even fake a smile, and it still be pretty.
That's what's up. Have you begun the process to get better?
I would say yes and no. I'm saying yes because I talk to people now. I have learned certain triggers. And even though I feel like you learn some triggers, I feel like you still have triggers as you get older. Some triggers you can let go of, some triggers you gain. But I feel like I've learned my triggers. I've learned things that I know I can't control or can't handle. I don't, you know what I'm saying, which is still kind of a trigger, but like I just learned, you know what I'm saying, learn different things that makes me able to get through. Now I will say no, because sometimes I can't handle it, sometimes I don't know what to do, and sometimes I get overwhelmed. So it's like I do things to get me better, but I know it's some things that I don't elaborate on, or I don't talk, you know what I'm saying, or I don't talk about. So it's like I don't feel like I've, you know what I'm saying, I don't feel like I've helped myself in that part. And that's when I had said back at the beginning about counseling. I really think counseling is something that I do need, but I really just want to find me a good counselor, because I want my counselor just to be a good counselor. Because it's like, who do I talk to? What type of counselor do I talk to? So those are my battles with counseling. But I do feel like in the long run, I will need counseling again. Because when I had counseling before, it was like through the doctor or something like that, which I'm not going to ever say those counselors didn't help me. Because if you ever see me walking around with a coloring book, just thank God. That's one of my most common mechanisms is the color. And I tell y'all should color too. It's very common. Keep crayons and coloring books. The best.
I actually got a follow-up. You're silly. I actually got a follow-up question, an extra question to something that you said. You mentioned counseling. So I'm assuming there's different type of counselors, mental health counselors.
Yes.
Okay, that's something new for me. Hello, everybody, in case y'all didn't know.
Yep, it's different type of counselors. So it's like, what type of counselor do I want to talk to? You can talk to counselors about just a mental illness. You could just talk to like it's not, they don't call it a counselor. It's somebody that's right under a counselor that you could just talk to, like a therapist. It's counselors then therapists. So like you could talk to a counselor, and if the counselor feel like what you're going through is a little too severe just for counseling, which is basically like talking, no medication, then they'll refer you to a therapist. And your therapist is the person, I believe, that prescribes like medications and different things like that. So that's why I said I should start talking to a counselor, because I don't know if I need medicine. Sometimes I feel like I can control it as of now, but how long can a person control what they going through? Because it's all a chemical imbalance and things like that. Like it's a mixture. I feel like it's a mixture of science and a mixture of nature. Like some things you can't control, but some things the medicine can help you with, able to cope it. You know what I'm saying? Like level it out. I don't feel like it'll ever be like, oh, you take this medicine, it'll be completely over. I don't ever think it'll be like that. I think it's something that you take the medicine, it helps you cope and level it out so you can go on about your regular life. But counseling is different levels to it, because it go from like counseling to therapist, and then I don't know who after a therapist. After a therapist, I don't know.
You just might need.
You just might need. Gonna be on receiving on the 6th floor.
Oh no. Wow. To kind of go ahead and close this out, then, just kind of give me a brief synopsis, or us a brief synopsis about where you are with it right now. Like, are you in a good place? Are you? I'm sure it's not something that goes away, but it has its days. So you know, where are we right now?
Right now, today, let's just use today for example. Today I am this morning I woke up, I was okay. And you try to go on with your daily life, and I was triggered, but I had to learn that if I stay triggered all day, then that means I gave all day to my anxiety. I gave all day to anger. I gave all day to things that it's not me. I love to be bubbly. I love to smile. So I am now at my point with my anxiety and my depression. I try to flow by it day by day, because I don't know, like I can't let yesterday control my today. So I just be at a point where I just try to cope, not even cope, because I'm not dealing with I feel like when you say cope, it's something bad, and I don't ever want to look at my anxiety or my depression as something bad with me. It's just something that I have, and I can deal with it. So I think every day I just deal. Every day I feel like it's which one is smaller, the battle or the war? The battle. Every day I feel like I'm working a battle, but my overall life is my war, and I plan on winning it.
Let's go. Well, Sierra, Cece, we thank you. And appreciate you doing this interview and giving your side of it, and letting people know its awareness and its effects, and a few little techniques to deal. Color, people. Color.
Get them coloring books, y'all. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, babe.
Peace out.
All right, today we're sitting here with Mick on an individual interview. And I got a couple questions for you, Mick. It's just 5 questions, real short, real quick. But elaborate as much as possible. When did you first realize that you were suffering from depression and or anxiety?
Really, I didn't resonate with it until I went to go get help. But initially I had been feeling sad all along, but I just didn't know what to call it.
Right.
So once I went to the VA and they had a word for it, depression, anxiety, PTSD, so forth, I was like, okay, well, what's next?
Right. So before we go into the next question, I actually got a follow-up question for that. Kind of, and I should have had you do this in the beginning, but kind of give us a background, like where you're from, what have you, where you working right now, what have you done as far as your livelihood?
Okay. I'm Mick, from Detroit, Michigan. I'm 34. I went to the military once back when I was 21 for like 3.5 years. And now I'm actually trying to learn how to be a truck driver. So that's pretty interesting. So I've just been kind of following my path.
Okay, awesome. And I asked you to do that because you mentioned the VA. and just so that people will know that they also have help through those avenues as well.
Right.
Why I asked you to kind of piggyback on some of your background, so to kind of dive right back into the questions. What did you do when you found out that you had this illness outside of, and well, because you've already mentioned going to the VA, outside of doing that, what steps have you taken to kind of get a handle on it?
Well, the VA was my first step, my initial step, because I ain't had nobody else to go to. Didn't have a primary care physician on the outside besides my military insurance and stuff. So that's where I initially went to. So after I did that, once I had my mental break, I had to go elsewhere, if that makes sense, because I needed a second opinion
Okay.
on what I was really going through or what was really deep down my issue, because I didn't know. And I don't feel like they knew at that moment either. They just knew that I was sad. And they hear a bunch of stories every day. So it's like they might have just took my story and generalized it.
Right. And tell a story about how this illness affected your life overall.
Okay, so a couple years back, like I said, I went to the VA for help. And initially they put me on some pills, just right off the back. And I'm like, okay. So I did feel weird initially, but they said you have to let it process in your body. You know what I'm saying? It takes time. Okay, cool. So as I'm going through this, I'm working midnights, I'm having problems in my relationships. So all of that plus side effects from the pills that is foreign to my body was just troublesome. So it made me feel even worse.
Wow.
And then I had something called intrusive thoughts that I did not know what was wrong. It was like I was hearing myself talk to myself, not nobody else. I wasn't seeing different faces, different places, but it was me basically self-consciously telling me negative things, like the two people that you have on the side of you almost.
On your shoulders.
Yeah, but the one person that's positive don't exist. All you have is that negative person just beating you down for no reason.
Wow. That actually kind of leads into the next question. Tell a story about how the illness caused you to affect others close to you.
So basically, after taking them pills, initially, I kind of went off on the deep end. I didn't know what I call him little dude now. What little dude was trying to tell me.
Right.
But he was telling me all these negative things. So I did. I tried to suicide. I tried to kill myself.
Wow.
And I ended up in the hospital, and I hurt a lot of people around me. Not knowing that I would, but the people that showed up while I was in the hospital, like my dad, my sister, my stepsister, it was just like, my dad, I didn't expect that at all. Me and him don't even have the best relationship. You get what I'm saying? And he showed up. He was the first person to show up. And I seen in his face that I really kind of messed him up with that one. And he was looking at me like, what's really going on? And I really couldn't explain it until they put me in that outpatient program. When they put me in the outpatient program, they gave me a new doctor. They gave me social workers. I was in something that you do in a group effort. So I heard other people's stories.
Right.
Made me feel like the stuff that I was going through wasn't that bad. So I'm like, all right. I initially got in there and I didn't speak. I spoke to the doctor because I'm like, well, he the one just got to prescribe me more stuff. He took me off of the pills in the daytime, put them on in the nighttime, which I was taking them, but I was working nights. So when they was supposed to be putting me to sleep, I was up and they were still working me. And I was already irritable and it was just bad. So anything negative was just making more negativity. So what he told me is that basically I lack serotonin in my brain, which is the more positive stuff. You know what I'm saying? I call it the extra sprinkle.
The
on
sprinkle.
top of your ice cream.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, some people just got the extra sprinkle. They just bubbly all the time. I wasn't like that. One thing went wrong, I'm beat myself down to the ground.
Wow.
So with that extra additive on there, it was just like really beating me up. And the only thing I could do was like kind of put myself in the fetal position. And when little dude was telling me that I wasn't shit and I need to leave and you just need to go and who gonna want you here, I listened, because at that point it was like, you know what, who do, and what's people gonna do without me? I thought people might be happy, but I know. I heard a lot of people with that one, and I don't regret it, but if I can go back, I wish that I would have reached out to more other people than just depending on that one primary VA source.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like even if I had talked to somebody else, because really didn't nobody know what I was going through.
And that's very understandable and quite common. And it actually leads us to our last and final question. Have you begun the process to get better?
Yeah. So I don't take the pills no more. Not saying that they a bad thing or anything, but different strokes for different folks. And for me, that just was not my route. Because even though he changed my regimen and put me on a different set of pills that was uppers, they made me do some really crazy upper stuff.
Right.
Like I jumped on the high-low at work for no reason. I just wanted to ride it up the highway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna jump on this highway, and I did it, and I got in trouble. He thought I was high, but I wasn't high. I just felt really good, and I don't know, adventurous. But like I said, that was that positive, that extra sprinkle. I had too much that day. It was sprinkling. Okay?
It's not funny, but it's funny. But
yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like now, when I see people and they be in the streets or they just be doing stuff that you might think is just odd.
Strange, yeah.
You don't know, because
right.
I mean, that was me at one point. To be honest, I was out there doing weird stuff. People were looking at me like, "What? She on something?" But you was right. I was on something. I was on some pills that I didn't know how they was going to affect my body. So yes, I started that process with basically trying to figure out different avenues of not just pills. I take sea moss now. I tried yoga, but that wasn't my thing. I don't know. I can't get my tree pose right.
Got that downward facing dog thing. That cheap pose. No. That's awesome. I'm actually glad that you're still here with us and able to tell your story, Mick. So I appreciate you for coming out, man. And unfortunately, we have some hard barriers to get around or get over, but for you to be here to do this, we appreciate you. Thank you. Shout out to you, Mick, for stepping in on Swapping Stories.
Man, hey, thank you all for having me. My name is Mick again, you know what I'm saying? So anybody out there, just know that you can defeat it. Just not even defeat it. You can learn to live with it. Like I said, me and little dude, we kind of actually get along now. I be kicking his ass now. Like he don't be beating up on me no more.
Awesome.
So as I've been going, I'll be 35 at the end of this year, so that'd be 5 years in as far as being diagnosed. So far with me, I knew the first thing I had to do was get to the core of the situation to understand what was wrong. And so once I got on my medication, I was able to start talking to the counselor again. Again, she was pulling stuff out of me, things that I didn't even know I was hurting over. So I would tell stories, and then as I'm talking to her, I would hear it coming out, and I remember it. But before this moment, I never remembered. But when I started talking about it, I was boo-hooing. Like, oh my God, I forgot that happened, All this stuff started coming out. I think at this point, I probably was like 31. So from there to now, I have struggled Like, you know, a lot. I actually decided to get off medication when a year of me being on, I decided to get off it thinking I was fixed. You know, I'm fixed now. Everything is good. And I stayed off for almost a year, but it was the wildest year ever. And for some reason, I couldn't remember the signs.
Define wild.
Hold on, I'll tell you one second. But I couldn't identify the signs, even though I had them. Even though I had this before and I got on medication before, all that the first time. This second time I started going through it, I couldn't remember the signs of it. You know, so I was going along with it as if it was real.
Like nothing's happening though.
No, I was all that junk was coming out, all of those emotions. I was paranoid. And that's because I actually had just gotten into a new relationship. And I think for me, relationships is a trigger for my anxiety. You get what I'm saying? And so when I got in this relationship, yeah, it was like the things I didn't want to think I was thinking. Like I had no reason to be thinking. I was just always on edge. Now after a year, I got better, but it took me a year to get past my relationship anxiety. However, I was off the medicine though, and I wish I was. And if I was, so I would just think all kind of stuff. I just went, like I said, I was going back down the rabbit hole. Then I realized it again. Something must be, you know, and I clicked. So I went back to the doctor, got my medicine. But before I got it, I was explaining to her, like, I don't know why I feel bad. I fixed everything. You know, I dealt with my trauma. I fixed it all. I'm happy. I'm good. And so she explained it to me in a way, I guess, that she figured would be easy to break it to me. And this is unfortunate. This is a result of you not taking care of anxiety, like, in your children, and your children's children, and yourself. This is the result. And a lot of people are going through this right now, what I'm about to tell you. So she pretty much told me, like, when I was like, well, I felt better. And she explained it to me in an illness way, the illness that's brought on by not eating right or something. So when you get to eat right and exercising, it's gone. It disappeared. They dealt with the problem.
Like a form of diabetes.
Yeah, like a form of diabetes. So they touched the problem. They did, you know, and they did. They ate right, they exercised, they got their life together, and they no longer have it anymore. But when it's a different, okay, so like you said, diabetes 1, diabetes 2. I don't know which one is the worst, but one of them, you can eat right and it'll go away. You won't have diabetes no more, like poof, it's gone. But it's another one where it doesn't matter what you do. You got diabetes for the rest of your life. You're taking medicine for the rest of your life. Again, I don't know if it's 1 or 2, so Google. Anyway, so she explained it to me like that and basically said that, you know, I had the illness for so long that it just dove deep down. It's never gonna go away. It's there forever. And she meant it. Because I'm 35, that's when I had to be about 32, 33. And I've been dealing with it, even with medicine, every day. Every single day. And it just be stupid stuff. I got depressed one time from the fear of getting depressed again. No lie. I was shocked. The therapist was like, you know, I think that you are depressed. Because he kept asking me every question. Your relationship bad? No. Work bad? No. Everything's great. I don't know what's wrong. That's why I'm here. Because last thing I checked, I was happy. So I think I was so scared of going through depression again that it triggered my, yeah, it's weird, but that's what happened. I get depressed all the time from very silly things. Like, for instance, if something happened bad to somebody around me, it'll depress me. Like it was me. But I feel so badly for you or something, or that's the fact that it happened. So,
You ever got depressed on happiness?
I don't know. Could have. Didn't know what was wrong. Because I'm just at the point in my life where when it comes up, I let it do its thing. You just stay quiet. I go to work, I do my thing, and I let it run its course. Because I know for sure nothing around me has triggered it. You get what I'm saying? I know my triggers, that's why. And I don't you know, that's one thing I don't know if I'm gonna ever do again. You get what I'm saying? I'm good. I'd rather not. Or going into crowded places. So sometimes I just can't, and I just don't. Like, my sister will go into the gas station for me. She'll go to the store or go do whatever it is that I'm supposed to do in person. I just can't do. Sometimes I cannot take a lot of people. That's more frequent now that I've gotten older, which I don't like so much, but I had fun in my young days, so maybe that's why. I kept forcing myself to do it. Maybe it just was like, I'm tired of you. So sometimes I wake up and I don't want to be around nobody. I don't want to talk to nobody. And it's easier for me to go around the people at work, and I think that's because it's my money. Just keeping it real. I can get there and I can put my game face on, but I'm still not feeling right. One of my employees, my assistant manager, she will point it out though. She will quickly be like, calm down. The anxiety is up. Cause I'm like, and then just actually Friday, my other employee told me to stop slapping my leg so much. I had caught like a little meeting. And she said, Ty, stop slapping your leg. So I guess I had been doing this the whole time I was talking to him like, but I didn't know. So they can point it out and they know when to just be like, close the door, or my assistant manager have meetings sometimes. I have to close the door because the noise. It's weird, it's crazy, and it's so stupid. I'm so sorry to say that to people who are not healed. I don't want you to take it wrong.
It's not even loud noise.
I just think if somebody just talking and her office is on this side.
Earlier you're gonna tell me something. Is you listening to me? Can you get off the phone? Girl,
whoever that was.
You
like, girl.
That's the first thing she said. Someone they like,
yeah. So sometimes that bothers
me.
But so when I'm in that mode, the only place I go is work, and I go home. The reason being is because I don't want to hold anybody accountable for dealing with my emotions when they switch and when they turn. Because for me, I don't think people understand that my emotions are switching and turning, but I am not in control. So when you think, just go be happy, I can't. And I don't want anybody to force me to do it, because I feel like if I decide to go put on a happy face when I don't feel happy, I'm going to bury it, because that is my natural reaction. Even now, I catch myself. So if I'm having a moment and we're all talking just like this, and I'm just talking, and whatever we're talking about, and then like 5 minutes, 10 minutes can pass, and I just start feeling real sad. And so now I'm at the point when that happened. I start thinking about what I said. I go backwards.
Like, what did I say that made me feel?
That triggered
What
me.
did somebody else say? Because it could have been what somebody else said.
And I go back because I want to hear it. I want to say it to myself. I want to know that this thing still hurt me. Like I really just be like spilling it, because I know that works. I know getting it out works. That's a real joke. I say it for sure. It took me years and years. I just actually started journaling a year ago, and I've been told to journal from when I first got diagnosed. But journaling to me was painful, because you go back and you're reading what you said, and you ain't over it. So it's like, I'm hurt again. I'm about to cry. So, but now I journal. I don't journal a lot. I don't journal every day. I think it's journaling requirements is probably different for different people on what you need. Me, I journal when I'm feeling really, really, really happy, because I think that's something that I want to go back and read and remember that it's possible. And I journal when I'm feeling really, really, really down, so I can read that and realize I'm tripping in this moment, because look how you felt then, and then look how you felt. You was happy, then you was sad. You was happy, then you was sad. I have to remind myself. Yeah, I have to, right? It's coming. Yeah. I have to do that so I can, when I feel really, really low sometimes, when it just done took over, because again, it's like a black cloud in your head. That's what it feels like. Everything is dark. Like everything is dark. Life is miserable. It's a sucky feeling.
It should when stuff be going great.
Yeah, everything be good. Everything be A1 in your life. Sometimes I've had it where I never even got a new, I get a new car, I'll be excited. I'm like, oh, things that should make you happy.
I just got it for the space. I'm like, girl, we about to ride this thing.
I like the screen.
Shut up. Yeah, I've been trying to be excited, but I would say this. So I think for me, okay. So yeah, because I feel like I'm done. I feel like I have a lot more stories to tell about myself, but I think it'll come out as we're talking, because right now I kind of want that. My story's so long that I think I told you from like 30s to 33.
But that's why it's your platform.
We'll talk about 34 and 35 later.
Or you might have made it to 32 and a half.
32 and a half. Yeah, she's right.
32 and a half.
How old was I in 2018?
32 and a half.
Yeah, that's what I told you right there. So it's not that. At the end of this video will be a P.O. box if you guys want to submit your own personal letters. We can do more of a platform like this where you all discuss your stories if you don't want to do it yourself. You can send the letters anonymously. If you want to send letters where you want to include your information and we can share with people, you can email me. I'll provide the information at the end of